Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast, coming to you from the beautiful Reading with Your Kids studios in the delightful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We have a wonderful, wonderful show for you today. All of our shows are wonderful. That's why we want you to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcasts. Our guest today is the author of Proud to be Latino, Food, Comida. Her name is Ashley Maria Mireles. Before Ashley joins us, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by The Adventures of Johnny Pocket Band, Battle of the Band by Linda Phelps. You know, there are a whole lot of kids out there that are struggling with anxiety and stress. Way too many kids. And there's a lot of stress on kids these days. And the technology that we love so much, the technology that enables me to create this podcast and send it around the world with a click of a mouse, is the same technology that can be providing an awful lot of that extra stress on kids. And well, we have a fantastic book for you to experience with your middle grade kids, your tweens and teens. It's a wonderful book, and it's called The Adventures of Johnny Pocket Band by Linda Phelps. Johnny and his brother Drummer Boy are excited to compete in the Battle of the Bands. They have 2 months to get the band prepared, but everyone is way nervous. Johnny has promised himself that he will conquer his anxiety this year. That's right. This year he's going to do it. And he's going to start having fun, too. And, with the help of his friends, he just might make it. Johnny Pocket Band, it captures the emotions, the fears, the excitement of the preteen years. It's a difficult time for everyone, but this story opens a window of understanding as each kid shares their thoughts about fitting in, making friends, and the new unsettling feeling of being attracted to girls. Whoa! This is a fantastic read for all families. The Adventures of Johnny Pocket Band, Battle of the Bands, is available on Amazon or on Linda's website, johnnypocket.net. The Adventures of Johnny Pocket Band, Battle of the Bands by Linda Phelps. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by Noah Source by Elaine Kylie Kearns. Do you know someone who's a Noasaurus? Is your child a Noasaurus? Does your child ever have one of those days where they wake up and their answer to everything is no? Does your spouse or significant other wake up having the same kind of feeling? Well, if you said yes, I have got a great picture book for you. It's Noasaurus by Elaine Kylie Kearns. Noasaurus woke up feeling very no. No to brushing his teeth, no to eating breakfast, and definitely no to playing with his little brother. Things get worse when Noah goes for a walk and then discovers that the relentlessly cheerful Toby Rex, Brian Brontosaurus, and Avaceratops follow him. Well, together the group starts a bona fide dino parade that even Noah cannot resist. This lighthearted, whimsical story will have readers laughing along at Noah and his friends, as well as their own bad moods. This hilarious book pairs 2 of little kids' favorite things, saying no and dinosaurs. Adults can relate to waking up on the wrong side of bed and feeling very no all day, too. So it's a great book for the whole family. Noasaurus is available on Amazon, and it's also available on Elaine's website, ElaineKylieKearns.com. And if you are a children's author, be sure to check out Elaine's blog, Kidlit411.com. Coming to us from Fresno in California, she is a member of the beautiful Familias family, our friends at Familias, and she's the author of Proud to be Latino. Please welcome to the show, Ashley Maria Mireles. Ashley, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you for being on the show, and I'm excited to talk about this brand new book for young kids, Proud to be Latino, and it's focusing on comida or food.
Yes. So the book, it's going to focus on Latino culture. Hopefully it's the first in a series, so we want to do more than just food. But the first book is going to focus on food and comida, since it is a bilingual book. We have both on the cover.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I've mentioned this, I think, a couple of times on the show with different guests. My wife is originally from Puerto Rico, and before I met her and before I got married to her, I was like a lot of people. When I saw somebody who spoke Spanish or referred to themselves as Hispanic or Latino, I just said, "Oh yeah, y'all are the same. Y'all one big tent. You speak the same language and you eat the same food and watch the same. You all watch Sábado Gigante, and that's it." And I had no idea of just how vast Latino culture is, and it's very, very diverse, and it's also very beautiful and wonderful.
Yeah, so that's one of the focuses of the book is to feature, show what's similar, but also feature the different unique characteristics of all the Latino countries. And so you'll see throughout the book, each spread has a theme. So like one of them is going to be rice and beans. And most people, when they think Latino rice and beans, immediately picture the traditional Mexican rice and beans. But all the different countries do rice and beans in a slightly different way. So you'll see different dishes based on these similar ingredients done in each country's traditional format.
And, and of course, in my wife's beautiful home country of Puerto Rico, they do arroz con gandules, rice and peas, and I actually know how to cook arroz con gandules.
Yeah, so that is one of the fun facts in the book. So we do include fun facts on each page so the parents can learn something interesting. And so for rice and beans, there are a lot of countries that switch out the beans for peas, and they have the same nutritional value. So it's the same type of dish, but some countries prefer peas.
Now, one of the fun facts that you shared with me is about something that's near and dear to my Irish family is potatoes. Tell us a little bit about, I was blown away.
Yeah, so potatoes are really a common staple in traditional Latino dishes. A lot of families use potatoes for every single meal. And they actually originate in the Andes. So there are over 50,000 varieties of potatoes available in Peru. Some of them aren't exported because they're so delicate, they can't really be exported. But if you are in Peru, you can try 50,000 different types of potatoes, and they come in all kinds of colors. Really amazing.
Yeah, I think my grandfather from County Cork would love it. He would just love it. I had my first purple potato last summer, and it was delicious. It was just weird. I'm looking at this. I'm like, what in the world is this? But it was really delicious.
They have slightly different flavor, all of that, but they are just, potatoes are amazing. I can eat them every day.
Now, I really love that this book is bilingual. What age are we talking? What age is the book targeted at?
So it is sort of a primer, but it does go beyond the traditional primer where we're not looking at single words. So ideally, it's the slightly older board book to picture book age where we're looking at like 4 to 5 or 6. It's also a bigger format board book than a traditional board book. So it acts as a sort of large lap book for smaller children. And it's a great transition into picture books for that sort of not quite ready to do a full 32 pages group, but they're still reading really well on their own. So I noticed with a lot of bilingual books out there, a lot of people do single word primers, which is great when you're first learning the language, but then the next step up is full picture books or chapter books that are either in English or Spanish, and there's not really anything in between. So our goal is to kind of create that transitional book that teaches you English and Spanish, but also isn't so basic that you're just learning single words you might have already seen before.
That's fantastic. And it's never too early to introduce kids to the idea of learning another language. And some people, I hear some people, they're afraid, if while my kid is learning how to speak English, if they hear words from another language, then their language development is going to be delayed, and that's just nonsense. It's it's really beneficial for kids to be exposed and to learn different languages, and at the young age, that's when it's easiest for them.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to get that concept of dual language early on. And for me, when I was younger, I spoke both English and Spanish up until kind of I went into school. And then my parents really wanted me to learn English really well, so they stopped teaching me Spanish. And as a result, my Spanish is really bad now. So I forget words all the time. But when I was younger, it was super easy, and I really wish they would have continued teaching it. But I have, younger cousins and friends, children who just switch between the languages so easily. And as long as they're exposed to both, they're going to continue to learn both. And it's not difficult for them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my son when he was 3 or 4 years old. He had a very big vocabulary, but half his vocabulary was Spanish and half of it was English. And he would use the words, and a sentence would be half English, half Spanish, and for him it was great, and we could understand him, and it all, by the time he went to kindergarten, and everybody was using the English words, the transition was simple for him.
Yeah, and here in California, there's a lot of dual language learner programs where you can continue to learn both languages through school. And so that's something that, people are finding that it's really beneficial for children to learn both words or both languages at the same time. And it actually helps them understand, context of one to the other to learn together. And so hopefully this book can be something that families use to continue that concept at home also.
Yeah, I just kind of emphasize this over and over. Our world is getting smaller and smaller through the wonders of technology. And if your child is unable to understand English and Spanish, they're able to communicate with a huge percentage of people around the world.
Yeah, definitely. An entire continent uses Spanish as their main language. And so it just opens up a lot of opportunities.
Now, one of the things I've loved about Latino culture is the music, and I know the music varies from country to country. But one thing that I find really fun is that there are a lot of songs and a lot of different Latin cultures that are about food. And there was a really popular song not too long ago down in Puerto Rico about ketchup. And you were sharing something about a really popular Honduran song.
Yeah, so during some of the research that we were doing for the book, we kept coming across this song that ended up actually on what would be the Billboard 100 in Honduras. And it's all about their conch soup, which is actually a national dish for them. So that song stayed on their Billboard charts for multiple years, and it keeps coming back up. So people really love the soup and the song. There's also a few, there was a song about chocolate. We didn't put that one as a fun fact, but there's a Spanish song about chocolate that's really popular in Mexico that's also entered the charts. So the love of music and food is really something that's tied together in Latino culture.
Yeah. One of the things that I really love about Latino culture, and I wish I'd seen more of it here in the States, is that there's much more of mixing of generations. Here in the majority culture here in the States, you have old people doing their thing and parents doing their thing and kids doing kid things. And in Puerto Rico and in Panama, when we go down there, there's like a lot of family events, and families get together at these huge concerts and festivals and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, we were talking a little bit before the show about making tamales.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we make tamales like a couple times a year. It's a huge family event. Like every cousin, every grandparent, my mom, my brothers, everyone comes and makes it all together. And like you said, all of our meals, we have multi-generations of people coming together, going to events together. We're really closely knit families, and that's kind of ingrained in the culture. So it's a perfect fit to have Proud to be Latino as a familias title, because familias is, dedicated to helping families be happy. We want families to be together and to learn together. We have our 9 habits of happy families. So this one is teaching families about Latino culture, but it's also teaching, encouraging families to try new dishes together and learn new languages together, and hopefully just take a little bit of that family culture and bring it into their own home also.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, absolutely. Now, as you're doing the research, now you shared with me that your family's originally from Mexico, and even Mexico, it's this really big, diverse country. And, things that are happening in the north of Mexico are different than the south. But was there anything in your research that really surprised you about another Latin culture?
So I think most of the stuff that I was coming across, I've experienced before. And so I'm in California. California is very diverse also. And we have several different organizations here in Fresno that bring different Latino cultures together. So I kind of had that as a jumping off point to start doing research and figuring out, I know that a lot of us eat rice and beans, or a lot of us do some form of chocolate dish. And so there was some stuff that I was aware of. I think the most interesting information that I was finding was the similarities between a lot of our different states that border the ocean and the Caribbean. And so we have a lot of similarities in food dishes and just even music, dance, everything that we share with the Caribbean islands, as well as Latino culture. And even some pieces of language translate over partially. So it's really interesting to see how, even outside of Latino culture, this whole region is very tied together by the foods we eat and just the type of music we listen to, and everything kind of meshes together. And you see how really, we all have our own individual diversity about our cultures, but we're all very similar. And, like you said, at the big events where all the families get together, you'll see a lot of people from different countries just getting along. It's amazing how much we have in common. It really is.
And one of the things I love about teaching our kids about different cultures is that, yes, this is very different, and there's a different language and there's different foods, but at the very core, we are all the same, and we all love our families. We all love to be with our families. We all are hurt when one of our friends are hurt, and we all value friendship. And so I think it's just a great way to help kids understand that we're all part of this one big, beautiful human familia, is to introduce them to different cultures.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the, biggest things that I like to tell my friends and some of my cousins that have younger kids. It's always great to just let kids meet people from different places or meet different cultures, learn about different cultures. And so here in Fresno, we have a Hmong New Year's celebration that's one of the biggest in the country. And so we go every year, and we're not Hmong, but it's really interesting to learn about the culture and just be experience it and learn firsthand what it is that they're celebrating and learn about it. And we've taken my youngest cousins before, and now they want to go all the time. They love it. But it's something that, being exposed to these type of cultures helps you understand your neighbors better, helps you understand your coworkers better. And it just makes for a much happier place when you understand why people are celebrating, or you understand, why we're eating conch soup and we love it so much. It helps to just make everything work together a lot better when you have understanding.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. One of the things that I love to do, I'm a big fan of chicken noodle soup, and I just love it. And one of the things I love to do when I visit another country or a neighborhood where there's a large population of folks from one culture is try their chicken soup, whether it's a sopa de pollo down in Puerto Rico or sancocho down in Panama. And it's like amazing. We can bring the world together through chicken soup.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always trying to try different forms of salsa because I love spicy things. And I've learned that there's some cultures that really, really do spicy food. It's on a whole nother level that I can't handle. Mm-hmm. But I always try it no matter what. I want to try their version of salsa or whatever spicy sauce they have. And sometimes I regret that.
Well, my niece Jimena is from El Salvador, and she loves spicy stuff. And so she's always introducing me to some crazy spicy things. And oftentimes it's fantastic, and other times it's not so much for me. So
yeah, once you get past the heat, most of it is really tasty. Mm-hmm. But you have to let the heat wear off first.
Exactly. Being able to survive the inferno. What other? You're mentioning that you're hoping that this is going to be a series. What other books can we look forward to in the future?
Yeah, so the next book that we have planned is holidays. And so there's a lot of traditional holidays or traditional celebrations that kind of are celebrated throughout all of Latin America. And so we're going to look at the different traditions that countries share. And so things like piñata or the candle ceremonies or different parades that they do. A lot of them are for similar reasons. So there's a lot of parades to cemeteries to celebrate their ancestors. And so that's really common in Latin America. And I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with this now because of Coco, Disney's Coco, that we have these celebrations of our past ancestors or our family members that have passed on. And it's really a celebration. It's not a mourning. And so we're going to look at different holidays and celebrations that happen in Latin America. And we also want to look at music because, like you said, there's a lot of similar music out there that we all listen to. And now we're seeing a lot of it, even here in the U.S., become popular. And so we're going to look at music and then also cultural icons, so famous people from Latin America that have made an impact on the world.
That's fantastic. Now, where can folks find out more about Proud to be Latino and all of the great books that are coming from Familias?
Yeah, so you can look at our website. It's www.familias.com. We also have all of our books on IndieBound, Amazon, and you can find us at many local bookstores and everywhere books are sold.
Yeah. Now, just before you go, now this is something you have a different role at Familias than author. You're really involved with the publications and sales. Did you see yourself as an author as you were growing up, or is this something an opportunity that just kind of made itself available that you jumped on?
Yeah, so actually when I was younger, I participated in the Young Author Fair here in Sanger, which is where Familias is actually based in Sanger, which is right outside of Fresno. Fresno's the name people will recognize. But I used to write a lot. My mom actually told me that I used to write books and letters to her when I was mad at her. So I was a character explaining what was wrong. So I've been writing for a long time, and I've actually always really loved books. When I was a child, I asked for a bookshelf for Christmas because I didn't like that my books didn't have a place to be. So me being a part of this industry was something that just made sense. And when I first applied to work with Familias, it was really awesome to just come and work with books every single day. The author part of it just kind of came organically out of conversations with different buyers and different bookstores, and they wanted a book that was about cultural diversity. They were looking for bilingual books. And so I had this idea, and we pitched it in one of our meetings, and they said, well, why don't you write it? So I did.
That's awesome. And just how does it feel being part of this industry that is providing so much wonderful content for families to enjoy together? And that's one Familias' real focus, is helping families be happy.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that was one of the things that really drew me to the original job listing, was that they actually didn't say that it was a publisher, and I didn't know that until I came into the office. But they're talked about being a mission-based company and having a goal to help families be happy, which just sounds amazing. It's something that is really important to me. I'm really close to my family. We're all from Sanger, California. And so just having this opportunity to help other people become that close to their family, or to find different ways to get engaged with their families, was really important to me personally. And then adding on, the fact that I get to work with books all the time just makes it even better.
That's fantastic. Well, we are so happy with our relationship with Familias. We've had so many guests on. We've had Christopher Robin, the publisher at Familias, on, and we're just delighted, and we're really excited about this brand new book, Proud to be Latino, Food and Comida. Our guest tonight has been Ashley Maria Mireles. Ashley, thank you so much for being part of our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be our friend returning to the show, George Neeb. He is a fantastic guest. You do not want to miss him. George is coming back on the show because he sees the value of coming on to the Reading with Your Kids podcast and telling thousands and thousands of people about his amazing picture book. And authors like Elaine Kiley Kearns and Linda Phelps, they see the value in advertising on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Again, getting the word out about their book to thousands and thousands of children's book lovers. Well, we would love to help you celebrate your amazing children's book. You can be a guest on the show. You can be a participant in our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program. You can also be a sponsor of the show. All the information is available on our website, readingwithyourkids.com. And speaking of thanks, we want to give a big thank you to Ashley Maria Mireles and all of our friends at Familias Publishing. Be sure to check out their latest book, Proud to be Latino, Food Comida. Also want to thank our sponsors, Elaine Kiley Kearns. Check out Noah Noah Source. And Linda Phelps. Check out Johnny Pocket Band, Battle of the Bands. I also want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan, for everything she does. Be sure you check out her wonderful blogs and book reviews at the readingwithyourkids.com website. I want to thank, for the very first time, Augie the Wonder Dog. He is always keeping watch over me here in the Reading with Your Kids studios, always by my side. And if you ever hear anybody snoring in the background, that is Augie the Wonder Dog. I also want to thank my beautiful wife for all of the support she gives me. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to subscribe to this show on the iHeartRadio app, on Podbean, Podcast Addict, Himalaya, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcast. I also want to thank you for making my world a better place. And you do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.